So Chris Ballard has been dealt a very obscure hand for a general manager. Has there ever been this kind of a situation for a GM before? I'm not sure. You've definitely had young players retire like Barry Sanders, Calvin Johnson. I think Patrick Willis was one for the 49ers, a linebacker. Luke Kuechly, another guy. But Chris Ballard lost his franchise quarterback. One of the best quarterbacks in the National Football League at the time. He just went through an offseason, building around him, getting him ready for the year. That year, the Colts were considered a Super Bowl contender. That was up until the second week of preseason. You're facing the Bears. All of a sudden, you get reports in, all fans looking crazy on the sideline, in the stadium, and a big shockwave hit the NFL, and Andrew Luck officially retired from football. It's just a crazy ride of emotion because the year prior, you started off 1-5 and made this miraculous run in the second half of the season, winning 9 of your last 10 out of games, and you beat the Houston Texans, and it took an MVP winner in Patrick Mahomes and the Kansas City Chiefs to stop Andrew Luck and the Indianapolis Colts. Just to him retiring 2 weeks before the next season when you've given him more weapons, you've built around him more, and he's retired. Colts fans that booed him, shame on you. Shame on you. Shame on you. So for a few years there, we kept having times where is Andrew Luck going to come back? Is he going to come back next year? Maybe he'll return. Nah, he's gone. He doesn't like football. It's not that he doesn't like football, as he said. All the injuries sucked it out of him. Okay. After Andrew Luck, Chris Ballard really couldn't go anywhere. He couldn't do anything. So he had to settle, and we had to deal with Jacoby Brissett for the year. Now we started 5-2. It was like the total opposite of the year prior. We started very good, but then everything went down a cliff very fast. It just plummeted. It started 5-2. We finished 7-9. And everything seemed pretty down. Everyone was pretty like, damn, what is going on? We went from Super Bowl contenders to being one of the worst teams on the stretch of it, of that season. Then you have Phillip Rivers, right? He was your best option at the time, and considering it was only, it was Jacoby Brissett and then him, there weren't too many, there wasn't really considered that carousel at the moment. So, Phillip Rivers, he brought them to a wild card berth, but he was limited. He couldn't run. Our red zone offense was pretty bad. Our defense was very inconsistent. It was very bad the first half. The second half, it was incredible. The offense, same thing with the offense. They have good quarters, good halves, and that kind of was the same thing with Carson Wentz that year. Except everything was looking good. Everything was looking mightily good. You beat the Cardinals on New Year's Day. You blew out, and you beat the Cardinals when you had nothing. Yeah, maybe the Cardinals weren't the most talented of teams, but at the time, they were one of the hottest teams in the NFL. They were very good. Very good. The Colts didn't have half the roster, yet they still found a way to win. Still found a way. And then we just don't know what happened. You lost the Raiders, you lost to the Jaguars, you got killed by the Jaguars. It was embarrassing. Fast forward to last year. Not going to go over last year too much. We know what happened. But now Chris Ballard gets his chance. His last chance, most likely. He's going to have Anthony Richardson, Shane Steichen. He gets a chance to build around a young franchise quarterback with a new head coach with a lot of potential. There's a lot to look forward to. There's a lot to like. But year one, right now, this Colts team is probably not going to be very good. And, he's been hit with so many roadblocks. Although Chris Ballard has made a lot of great decisions as well. We're going to start talking about his decision-making a little bit. There's been many, many times where he hasn't made the right decision. Now, I'm not saying I'm a general manager. I'm the best in the world. I know he should have done this. No. I'm saying that sometimes he's stubborn. And he has made some pretty bad decisions. Other than the 2018 draft and the draft with Pittman and JT, other drafts have been fairly inconsistent. Very inconsistent. Now, he has drafted some great players in the second round, the late rounds, but he has struggled when it has come to the most important positions in football. But yet he has paid these non-premium positions premium money, but he's not willing to pay premium positions premium money. Offensive line, the highest paid in the year. Where'd they get us last year? It was horrendous. It was one of the worst offensive lines in the league, yet you're one of the highest paid offensive lines in the league. Wide receiver room. He has had struggle drafting these guys. I mean, he hasn't had the best luck. You know, he's struggled with guys with having injuries in the later rounds. Deion Kane was an interesting guy. Darius Fountain. Paris Campbell struggled with injuries. And, Pittman is okay. I want to see more from Pittman this year. He needs to bounce back. He needs to prove that he is that guy, which I think Pierce is going to take that. But the fact is, Chris Ballard has struggled with the most important positions and cornerback as well, defensive end as well. You drafted Tyquan Lewis. He's still on the team. He's been injured a lot. Kimoko Toure didn't really do much. You look at the cornerbacks you've had. Quincy Wilson was drafted in the second round. Rocky Sin was drafted in the beginning of the second round or the first. I think it was the beginning of the second. And yet he has paid millions and millions of dollars to, premium money to Darius Leonard, who, listen to me out. Darius Leonard is worth the $20 million if he isn't injury prone. I think he's a rare exception for a linebacker being worth premium money. But then you look at the offensive line. You paid Quinn Nelson $20 million. He's generational talent. Okay, I'd rather pay a tackle that money, but I understand him paying him $20 million, keeping him where he's at because he's so good where he is. I kind of understand it, although it kind of isn't great to be paying guard $20 million. Ryan Kelly, he paid Ryan Kelly as one of the highest paid centers a couple of years ago. Yet, he isn't, I don't think he plays like it. I think he plays like a very good center, maybe a top 10 center. But I don't think he is inconsistent enough to be paid as the highest. I think he's very inconsistent in pass protection. He is very good in run protection, although last year, the whole offensive line was just really bad. A couple experiments went wrong with Matt Pryor, Will Fry. No, not Will Fry. It's Danny Pinner. A couple experiments went wrong. And really, this next year, you have a lot of young guys in these positions. And cornerback in the secondary, you have Julian Blackman and Kenny Moore, who are the only two that actually have serious playing time. The boundary of Brents, Rush. The loss of Isaiah Rodgers definitely hurts, and now trading Stephon Gilmore looks even worse on him. I don't think that was a bad move. Chris Ballard cannot predict the future, and that Isaiah Rodgers would have done this. So now you have a very young team with, the sky's the limit with the young quarterback and your new head coach. This is Chris Ballard's last chance. I just kind of wanted to review what he's been through. And now that this is probably his last chance because, at the end of the day, no one cares if you've been played a fair hand. No one cares what happened with Andrew Luck now. You got to figure it out. You're a GM. You got to get this team up to standards. And if you can't, move on. And Jim Irsay is not going to be scared to. Jim Irsay will. Now, he's not one that likes to move on right away. I think Chris Ballard's done a phenomenal job building the team in certain spots, but he's going to need to figure it out in the most important spots, which hopefully he did with Anthony Richardson. He's very raw and he has a lot of work to do, but he could be a very good quarterback. And I think he understood that he needs to take this chance. And hopefully, Chris Ballard learning to stop going the easy route, to stop going and patching up these important positions, and go ahead and take a chance on Anthony Richardson. I think that was a big changing, not really necessary character, but the way he's thinking and that, yeah, my job's on the line. I like that he took a chance on that because when you have to do it, when you really have to figure it out and you have a fire under your ass, sometimes that's when you figure it out. So hopefully That's what happens with Chris Ballard. But this is his last chance. He's got a brand new set of tools. He has a brand new head coach. Wipe the slate clean. Move on and improve. Let's see if Chris Ballard can do it. Do you guys think he could? Interested to see if he could. So, I want you guys let me know what you think about this. Do you think this is Chris Ballard's last chance? Do you think he's going to make it count? That's what I want to hear from you guys. So, you guys let me know what you think. Thank you for tuning in to the JDW Sports Talk Show, where every fan is welcome. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to like, subscribe, put the post notification bell on so you don't miss any future videos. It's JDW Sports Talk Show. Signing off.